You know, throughout the 6 years of doing this broadcast, I brought you some stories, education stories, from running the halls, truancy, bullying, to even stuff that was caught on tape. Especially when I heard about this case that was caught on tape. What's most surprising is we hear from the students and sometimes the administrators, but in these cases, we don't actually hear from the teachers until tonight. Tonight, you are going to hear from the teacher who was assaulted by a 15-year-old student. And it was all caught on tape. And for the first time ever, that teacher tells her side of the story from that video. And a warning, the content of the video that you will see is quite graphic. Please ask your kids to leave the room. And I'm serious, you really don't want your kids watching this, and it's not going to be fun for you to see it. But we need to be aware of what's going on in our schools. Here's Rob D.
Jaw-dropping video filmed by students at Heritage High School shows the seconds that changed Tawana Turner's life and nearly ended her 27-year teaching career.
I was in the hospital 6 days, and the numbness was there all 6 days.
Other teachers had to rip the 15-year-old girl off of her. Have you seen the video?
Yeah.
What was that like watching that?
I was amazed at how I held off. I just couldn't believe that I was able to hold myself off like that, and not react.
Turner says God spoke to her in those moments. After the adrenaline subsided,
the pain hit me, and I was like, my leg, I can't move my leg.
The Rockdale County District Attorney's Office tells Fox 5 that the 15-year-old girl pleaded guilty to aggravated battery against a teacher, which is a felony. Last week, a judge sentenced her to a year in the youth detention center, followed by 5 years of supervised release. What allegedly caused the girl to go off when Turner tried to take her phone.
These cell phones, they're able to bring them to school. It's becoming a huge issue. This is like their livelihood. You take it away, and some of them go berserk.
Turner says she's still in physical therapy and can't even drive. She says worse than the physical pain, the emotional pain of sitting home away from her students. Can you ever see yourself stepping foot into a classroom as a teacher ever again?
Yes. That situation was an isolated situation.
She says after the video went viral, people from around the world reached out to her to express their support.
People who don't know me have reached out to me, have helped me, are praying for me, supporting. That kind of treatment, that holds you up when you fall.
You got angels on your side.
I'm telling you, I don't take any of it for granted.
Now, Turner tells me if she could go back to teaching tomorrow, she would.
And definitely she would. Okay. Common sense alert. Where do we begin here? You are not to record people fighting. As a bystander, you need to break up the fight. Like we talked about and what we talked about here. You know what? What we need to do is the lesson here. I'm going to teach you how to break up a fight. And you may be asking, won't you get hit breaking up a fight? Well, yes, you can. I mean, you see someone fighting, you want to break it up? You go in the middle and push them out of the way. If you want to. Yeah, that's going to get you hurt. But another way to do that is to go from behind the person. You sneak up behind them, you grab them in a chokehold, and pull them out. Now you may be asking, will they feel faint or will they feel choking? Something like that. But if you let go tightly, you're pressing up against the throat. But however, if you push them out of the way, you're strong enough to push them out of the way without getting hit. You may be lucky, but if you are hit, hey, it ain't no big deal here. As a matter of fact, going back to our What If Fights video, going back to our water fights episode, which I did last month when we talked about a fight that happened in Whataburger. One person commented saying, "Don't you think breaking the fight could lead you to being punched in the face or something like that?" I replied saying, "If you're willing to take the risk," but that's a good question. So let's ask that question. So if you break up a fight, will you get hit? Is it wrong to break up a fight? Should you break up a fight? We're going to answer that question for you when we come back. And still ahead, this man, this retired Army officer says he witnessed what happened over 50 years ago during the Roswell incident. John Hockenberry has this story. Stay with us. If you just joined us, we're talking about an incident that happened just days ago when a Georgia teacher was brutally attacked by a student and breaking her silence. The common sense perspective is what we're talking about here. These kids get out their phones, start filming, and post to social media for all their friends to see. Because they're scared to break up the fight, because they want to film on their cell phones. And the most important question, and one of the comments that was on the episode Water Fights back in March, one viewer asked, if you break up a fight, will you get hurt? That's a very good question. So, if you Google it, you will ask an important question. Like, why did I get in trouble for breaking up a fight? Sometimes you may get in trouble, sometimes you may be a hero. You're what people call a bystander. And according to the definition, you to Google a bystander, the meaning of a bystander is this: a person who is present of an event or incident that does not take part. That's what a bystander is. But if you're, like the water fight here, like these fights you see on YouTube, people don't break up the fights, but they end up filming and posting on YouTube for millions of views. That's how YouTubers make money, or other social media platforms. But one guy asked the question, and we're going to answer that question for him. This is from a viewer by the name of Dylan Cool. So Dylan Cool, who commented on this, if you're watching this episode, we're going to answer that question for you. By first asking the question, why did I get in trouble for breaking up a fight? You never get in trouble for breaking up a fight. You're doing the right thing. People may congratulate you, and people may not congratulate you. It depends on one of the two. According to Quora, who answered the question, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but you tried to stop a fight because your brother was beating the hell out of the other kid. I say because who calls him brother, the kid. Now, going to break up a fight at school. Now, hold on a second here. How much trouble am I getting if I break up a fight in school? My suggestion to you would be not to intervene. Get the attention of school staff, such as teachers, etc., or any adult authority of the school can get them to handle it. You get involved, you could very well end up in trouble or maybe even hurt in the process. Use your head, not your heart, in this type of situation. That's good. That's for schools. I don't recommend that you step in and break up the fight. If you see a fight happening, go get an adult present and they will help out. Don't try to be a hero in all this, because you will get in trouble you probably will get in trouble breaking up the fight. You two will end up on the news and on this broadcast as well, so don't try to be that hero. Now, going back to our Google question, here's another question that was in the suggestion box from Google. From people also ask, is it wrong to break up a fight? Well, some say if you are able, you should absolutely step in and break up the fight as long as you feel confident you can protect yourself. You should end the chaos. Others may say stepping in an out of control situation will help no one and might result in more injuries. And if you want to learn how to break up a fight, this is a lesson 101 for you guys to learn how to break up a fight. Because if you want to be the type of person who wants to learn how to break up a fight, it's a 101 lesson you will never forget. And we're gonna do that. We're gonna do that for you tonight. So tonight we're talking about breaking up fights. So part 1 of this is assessing the situation. Keep your distance. There's no need to get involved in a fight if you don't have to by keeping your distance. This can help preserve your personal safety. If you're unsure about what to do in face of the fight, take a step back and find a safe area. This can be the best course of action. Place your own safety at first. Use non-violent means before resorting to physical methods for breaking up a fight. Physical methods for breaking up a fight are the last resort and are for use when other options are exhaustive or non-existent. Look for underlying causes. Understanding the relationship between the two people in a fight. And ask these questions. Do these people know each other? Are they family members? Is this about a romantic interest? Examine possible motivations, like, is this random aggression or is it driven by a specific feeling or being involved? The difference between motivation and after how two people in a fight will respond to breaking up. Ask questions to anyone who will answer. Determine the facts. Note who, what, when, where, and why. These can help you take in the whole situation as well as provide the useful if the police become involved. Talk to witnesses and ask questions of the people involved. Take stock of yourself. You need to make sure you are prepared to handle it with such conflict. Take stock of the state you are in. If you're intoxicated, overtired, or not dressed for such activity, think twice before attempting to break up the fight. Next, explain to the people involved. Figure out the position of each party involved is in. If they're intoxicated, armed, or clearly more than capable of a fighter, it might not be a good situation to get involved in. Understand the people escalating the altercation before you decide to interfere. So if they got a gun or a taser, back away. You got a bulletproof vest, prepare yourself. Next, find an authority. Teacher, security guard, police officer. In order to prevent yourself from being in harm's way. Get somebody trained to grapple with the situation. Immediately find someone in a position of authority to manage the violent engagement. They may be asking, well, can I call 911? Of course you can. But you may take video of this for evidence. Do not post, but don't post it on social media. That's the wrong way. You're thinking to yourself, I'm gonna videotape this fight and show it to my friends. No. You need to videotape this for yourself and yourself only. Don't post on social media. Save it. If people say you witnessed the fight, you need to save that video immediately, put it on a flash drive, put it on your computer. Make sure it's saved. If you deleted it for no apparent reason because you lost your space, well, sucks to be you then. Because you had so much storage space on your phone, you deleted that video, like, oh my God, what do I do? It's okay. What you need to do is ask for the victim, for the witness's phone numbers and all. Make sure you keep that in a safe place. Where you'll always be able to find it. I recommend you put it in a plastic bag in your dresser drawer. Or you can hide it under your computer, underneath the computer, under your hat. I don't recommend hiding it under the hat. Don't put it in the laundry because paper and all. Apply the non-violent methods, like create a distraction, give commands, use humor, sing a song loudly, and don't yell. And this is the big one. Call 911. Emphasize. Ask people in a fight to see and form another person's point of view. Use language that shows you understand completely how the people in the fight feel. Use clear emotional language to elicit empathy. And converse. Use the I statements. I feel. I'm hearing you say. Avoid the you statements. That might feel like accusations. Ask questions. And always be calm here. And always listen. Use verbal signs you're listening to, saying, I see your point. Nod and make eye contact. Meditate. Actively listen, ask questions, and gradually help the two parties to negotiate the dispute on their own. Fascinate reconnaissance. Now that we've showed you two parts to this, there's a third part to it. We're going to explain that to you when we return. Then later, this retired Army officer says he witnessed what happened years ago when he saw what happened at Roswell. John Hockenberry with the exhibit. Stay with us. Breaking up a fight 101. If you're just joining us, we're talking about ways to break up a fight because most people get out their phones, post on social media, and they're going to get millions of views and likes because of that one video. I'm going to teach you better ways to break up a fight. That way, you guys can be heroes out there for breaking up the fight. We just finished two parts. The third part to this is using physical means. The first one is throw cold water. A box of cold water can cool down the temper. Toss a cup or a pot of water on the people fighting, or get a hose. It's a good way to avoid placing yourself directly in contact with the aggressors. So it's like, there's a fight going on. Or, hey you! Eat cold water. Number 2, place yourself between the combatants. Place yourself between two people who are fighting. You can interrupt their fight. It is important to recognize this. This might result in an injury to you, especially if you feel feeling that the person involved will harm you. This can't be a successful solution. Just go like, see where I'm going with this? Like where my two hands are between the two persons, between the two chests, or arm to arm. If I had a real person in here, we would demonstrate this. Restrain an aggressor. Firm hugs considered. Hugs can also be used for fights among adults. Choke, stranglehold, arm headlocks, and pinning holds. If we had a real person and the person here, we would show you. But I'm not going to get involved in myself here. If we were to do an experiment, that means I get permission from everyone else, so-and-so, this, blah, 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 but I want to show you. Use pepper spray. Don't get a taser out and start, bzz. You got to get a taser? Okay, get a taser out, but I recommend you get pepper spray. Most effective weapon ever. Be cautious with pepper spray, as some people are allergic to it, and it can cause severe health problems. Extra caution should be taken with pepper spray as it is illegal to carry. Spraying someone in the face can be a crime. So, that's how you break up a fight. That's how you break up a fight here. So if you want to know more about these methods, you can go to the website wikihow.com, how to break up a fight. We'll have the link in the description below. And for the person that commented on the water fights video, I hope we answer your questions. So Dylan, cool. If you're watching this, I hope we answer your question for you. And if you want to see that episode on that Waterfight video, you can look up this episode on the Give Me a Break playlist. We'll have that in the description below, along with our favorite Give Me a Break episode, along with all the episodes throughout the 6 years of this broadcast. Still ahead, this retired Army officer says he knows what happened. He claims he's seen the wreckage that happened years ago in Roswell. But could the government kept a secret for years? John Hockenberry on sightings and secrets. Stay with us. It's known as the Roswell incident, the legend born over 70 years ago when someone crossed some debris in the New Mexico desert. Years ago, the Air Force released a report on Roswell on 2nd, saying that wreckage, what some believe is probably dummies, and the aliens people reported seeing dummies from balloon test. Tonight, the Roswell incident is revisited back in 1997, including a new link and a legend. The claim that some of the stuff did not come from the brains, but from the remains of that spaceship. You'll meet this man who saw that crash, and she gives us an inside look at his museum. The Museum of the Roswell Incident. Here's John Hockenberry.
Roswell is the Holy Grail. It is the quintessential case, the quest, the ultimate proof, if it were true and if it existed.
Roswell, this small city in southeastern New Mexico on the planet Earth, in our very own solar system, has become to the UFO believers the place where we discovered we're truly not alone. Consider, if you will, the Roswell Files. A tale that begins, appropriately enough, on a dark and stormy night, 4th of July weekend, 1947. In the preceding months, the nation was in the midst of a series of UFO sightings. Across the country, inexplicable objects were reported racing across the skies. But this stormy night in the desert would be different because of what many believe fell to earth. What is known for sure is that in the aftermath of that ferocious storm, rancher Max Brazel found something out on his range. He alerted the Army Air Force Base at Roswell, and a legend was born. But first, it was a news story. An official press release startled the nation. Army Air Force captures flying saucer, read headlines around the world. The next day, the Army retracted it all, held a press conference to show the alien wreckage. The cosmic debris, they said, was only the remains of a crashed weather balloon. For decades, that was the government line. Then there is the other version of what happened that night. You probably saw it last summer in the movie Independence Day.
In the 1950s, whatever, you had that spaceship. With the Roswell, Mexico, yeah. No, you had the spaceship, and you had the bodies. They were all locked up in a bunker.
The UFO believers tell a story that goes something like this. Not only did an alien spaceship crash into this arroyo here in the desert, but the bodies of several, no one can agree on how many, extraterrestrials were pulled from the wreckage, driven across the desert to this Hangar 84, then loaded onto planes and flown east for secret autopsies. The bodies and the wreckage remain hidden, the deepest government secret in history. Today, anyone who knows anything about aliens knows that 20 miles east of Roswell, on Hub Corn's land, is the one true crash site.
There was supposedly five bodies.
Thousands of people have toured it for $15 a head.
Maybe it's just that people always like to slow down when they pass a crash scene. But here at this alleged UFO crash site, there's really not that much to see. Just this rocky patch of Hub Corn's sheep ranch. But on July 4th, when millions of Americans will be laying out on some beach, tens of thousands of people are expected to make a pilgrimage right here, to the place where they believe UFOs stopped being science fiction and became, for all time, historical fact.
Among the believers is this man, Philip Corso, a highly decorated Army lieutenant colonel who, until his retirement, was a senior staff officer at the Pentagon, for 21 years privy to this nation's most sensitive secrets. He has come forward now to say aliens crashed at Roswell. In his book, The Day After Roswell, he claims, in fact, that alien technology changed all our lives. Corso's story begins just days after the alleged crash. July 1947, then Major Corso was stationed at Fort Riley, Kansas. He saw, he says, an extraordinary shipment headed for Washington from Roswell, which he described for us when we visited the Roswell UFO Museum and Research Center.
They were not caskets, but they were boxes, and say they were about 6 feet long, about 3 or 4 feet wide, and they were covered with tarps. So when I went in with the sergeant, and he picked up one corner of the tarp, and there was this body floating in some sort of liquid.
A body?
Yeah, a body. A complete body, not the head only. Complete body.
What kind of a body?
It was like that thing there.
You're serious?
Yeah, simple face, not much to it. Little holes in the eyes. It looked different, and it was small.
It was dead?
Dead. It was floating some sort of liquid.
Where did they go?
I don't know. I never got into that.
Corso says he never mentioned his close encounter with alien bodies when he was on General MacArthur's staff in the Korean War, or when he was military advisor to President Eisenhower, or even when he was a commander of a nuclear missile battalion in Germany during the Cold War.
You commanded nuclear warheads?
I had atomic warheads. You know, this was not trivial stuff.
You're a colonel in the U.S. Army with access to the most secure secrets of the United States government.
I had all the clearances above top secret. I had the satellite clearance, eyes only at the White House. I had the crypto clearances. I had all those clearances one time or other.
And you believe in flying saucers?
I have to believe it.
In the whole Roswell saga, Colonel Corso holds a particularly important position. He is the only alleged eyewitness to the alleged existence of the alleged alien bodies.
We called them, in those days, extraterrestrial biological entities.
You are the last living human being that saw those alien bodies.
Remember now, there was people like me who who were people who wouldn't talk.
So you think there are still people out there keeping the secret?
I don't think I'm the last thing there are.
So, tell me about this here.
Well, this is similar to what it looked like. Now, the mouth is different. I didn't see any big mouth like that. No sex organs. The nose was not like that. The ear is about right. And that eyelid, finally, when it was analyzed, it was a collected light, like our image intensifies.
And as we'll see, that glimpse of the aliens was only the start of Colonel Corso's involvement with the great Roswell alien cover-up. After all, extraterrestrials from Roswell and elsewhere are not all that, well, alien a concept. In fact, a Dateline poll revealed 50% of adults surveyed said they believe the U.S. government has concealed information when it comes to aliens and UFOs.
And some witnesses reported the UFOs were shaped like hamburgers, even Big Macs.
What's behind all the recent reports of weird happenings in the skies over Phoenix recently?
For the last 50 years, the American public has conducted its own search for intelligent life in the universe. And these days, on the scores of websites and chat rooms that examine every aspect of the UFO phenomenon, you can find Colonel Corso's blockbuster story. And wait till they hear the rest of his story. Corso says that in 1961, he was posted to the Pentagon to the Office of Foreign Technology with one of the most secret assignments in history, custody of the actual Roswell UFO wreckage. And the book says Corso was ordered by his superiors to share the alien secrets with military contractors.
We planted the seed, and then we'd see how the progress was going.
And those seeds, Corso claims to have sowed, yielded an operator's manual for the millennium. An incredible array of inventions, all, he says, reverse engineered by American corporations from alien technology.
Well, let's go through a list. Here's a very simple version of fiber optic. The first time you saw fiber optic,
it was in a little bundle.
In that flying saucer debris.
Yeah.
Stealth technology.
Some of it came from aliens.
Some of it came from aliens.
Some of it.
And this flew in to go for.
Yes.
But perhaps the most important, these little Walkman radios, computers, everything that we have, the heart of it is one of these.
As far as I'm concerned, the most important thing that we did was the integrated circuit.
You saw it the first time
Size of a quarter, black.
from the flying saucer
One was
debris.
charred. I got about 4 or 5 of them.
So all this technology came from aliens?
We called it applied engineering. What we meant by that was give this information to an industry that wants it and encourage them to take credit for it and take the patents.
But I bet the aliens would love to have the patents.
Well,
Maybe the aliens have lawyers.
I don't know.
So we talked to representatives of the companies cited in Colonel Corso's book. They hold the patents on things like Kevlar, fiber optics, lasers, night vision scopes, and integrated circuits. All items Corso maintains came from alien technology. It's a who's who of American industry. But Monsanto, DuPont, Hughes Aircraft, Bell Labs, and Dow Chemical all said they had never heard of Colonel Corso or the Roswell wreckage. Dow Chemical did expand its statement to say, quote, although we're not entirely certain, we strongly suspect that all of the men and women Dow scientists responsible for our inventions over the years hail from the planet Earth. And Bell Labs claimed that its technology, too, is, quote, grounded in the creativity and hard work of very talented Earthlings. Corso says the companies weren't supposed to know where their inventions came from. They were purposely misled. It was all part of the plan.
Roswell is not only a series of hoaxes, but it's rumor mongering, legend making, raconteuring, everything you can imagine.
Joe Nickel edits The Skeptical Inquirer, a publication dedicated to investigating claims of the paranormal. So what is the likelihood that in some file in Washington that there was a little bag of artifacts from a crash site that ended up seeding all of these technological changes, as Colonel Corso claims?
I believe the odds are between 0 and none.
That high. What crashed at Roswell?
What crashed at Roswell was a secret government spy balloon called Project Mogul.
It took 6 pounds of paper for the Air Force to say the same thing in this 1994 investigation. The Roswell UFO was a balloon. Colonel Richard Weaver, now retired, wrote the Air Force report. He feels for the Roswell faithful.
No, I think regardless of what the Air Force says itself or what anybody says that contradicts their beliefs in that, that they're not going to be happy. Because some of these people have turned this into their life's calling. I got bad news for them. They're going to go down a pretty boring life because there's nothing there.
Period of time.
The findings were reiterated once again today in the latest Air Force report.
There were about 2,500 balloons launched during this 30-year period.
But no government report will deter the Roswell faithful, who are sure the truth is indeed out there. They have made Roswell, population 50,000, into a boomtown, home to not one but 2 UFO museums, more alien merchandising than any place in the galaxy, attracting thousands of little green men, mostly dead presidents, Lincoln, Jackson, and Grant. As for proud old soldier Philip Corso, he says there's even more to tell. It's not in his book, but you heard it here first.
Oh, what's the site here?
I saw something like this some other place.
Really? Where?
It was Phaeton, a time machine. I'll tell you about that later.
You'll tell me about the time machine later? Okay. All right. How long do we have on the air today?
More than 100,000 people are expected in Roswell this summer for their own close encounters on this, the 50th anniversary. If you'd like more information about the topic, visit our website at www.dateline.msnbc.com for an interactive quiz and an MSNBC special report, Close Encounters in Roswell.
So what was that all about? It was all about one thing. A balloon. That's what it's all about. You may believe in aliens, you may believe in extraterrestrials, you may see ET, so and so distance, blah, 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 blah. But that's what the Air Force did. They wrote the report, they updated it, and now the truth is out there from one person who's seen everything, and he shared it on this broadcast. He shared it. Now I'm sharing it with you. Okay. Coming up next, These people were riding a water slide. As the hot weather hits, millions of people are going on these water slides. But what you'll see next has left everyone speechless, especially the principal, Josh Mankiewicz, on wild slide rides. Stay with us. Cooling off in the waves of the water park. Millions of us do this time of year as the hot weather hits. But years ago, the thrill of a water slide ended with some high school seniors who wanted to play a game of overcrowding. That meant that they had to overcrowd them and the slide won't break. It was a tradition. But what happened next ended up in murder of some high school seniors. You'll meet those seniors and hear their sides of the story. Here's Josh Mankiewicz.
It's a rush. You test your fears, push the envelope. You're both wet and cool at the same time. One of the newest things in thrill rides has an old-fashioned allure. Especially if you're 17 years old on a warm summer day.
Why do you go on any ride? Because it's scary.
For the seniors at Napa High School in Northern California, the huge slides at nearby Water World seems the perfect place to spend some of their last hours together before graduation. Chris is president of the student body. Did it strike anybody as dangerous?
I looked at it and I thought, I had a thought and then you push it out of your head just like anything else.
At any amusement park, you never think anything's going to happen.
An end-of-the-year trip for the senior class is a local tradition, and so is packing as many students onto the water slide as possible. It's called clogging, and the idea is to set a new record each year, getting more students onto the slide than last year's class did. It's easy to do, and usually nothing goes wrong. This is the slide. The kids enter here, some 40 feet up. The way it's supposed to happen, each person rides down separately, one by one. A twirling, tumbling ride on a slick sheet of water. And then, seconds later, into the pool at the bottom. But here's what actually happened. In an effort to break that school record, they'd have to get more than 70 kids on the slide. To make that happen, some of them stopped partway down, allowing more and more of the students to pile on behind them. A human traffic jam. There was a warning sign at the bottom of the slide and an attendant at the top. The students say they ignored both of them.
I think they all knew it was against the rules. We thought there would be no consequences.
They knew only one person at a time was permitted on the slide, and they knew they would probably be kicked out of the park afterward. And yet that was okay. For one glorious moment, they would all be together. As it turned out, some would be together for the very last time. 4 stories above the ground.
It didn't matter who you're sitting next to on the slide. You could, be sitting next to someone you've seen in the hall once, and you look at each other and you're just having the best time.
And then it happened. A sound. Megan wasn't on the slide, but she heard that awful noise, and she knew.
I just heard a crack, just like something I've never heard before. And I knew what happened.
Did you hear the same noise?
I still hear the noise. It's just...
It doesn't go away. It's not something that you forget. I mean, I can hear it in my sleep. I can hear it.
The fiberglass slide gave way under the combined weight of dozens of students as they tried to set that record. Within seconds, the class on the brink of a happy, proud graduation was fighting for its life amid helicopters, sirens, stretchers.
Just right when you heard the noise, it wasn't like you were scared or anything. It was just like we were already dead. It didn't matter anymore.
John, the soft-spoken class valedictorian.
I think I hit something on the way down. That's what broke my phone. That's why I wasn't hurt bad. I was very lucky. A lot of people couldn't.
Linda Franco is one of those. She has a lacerated liver, a broken rib, and a fractured vertebra. A volleyball and track star, good enough to be covered on local television, she was hoping for a slot on the UCLA track team.
I was right by the curve. It was just starting to curve. So I saw some of my classmates' faces. Then I heard it crack, and felt myself fall, and I blacked out for a little bit after that.
For those fortunate enough to be mere spectators like Lisa, it was a horror movie come to life.
And I saw just a mass of water and bodies falling to the ground. I looked down, and everybody that had made it, they had looks of terror on their face. And they were all, get down, get down. And then I saw everybody at the bottom. They jumped off the side and rushed to help everybody that fell. I thought they were all dead. There's nothing horrible than seeing your classmates plummet to the ground.
The slide twisted and broke apart about 10 feet from the top. 33 students couldn't hang on.
I was around the corner from where it broke, and I just saw it fall, and saw people in the air.
There was blood and broken bones, and worse. 17-year-old Quimby Gelati landed on her head. She died at a local hospital. 48 hours later, her classmates had donned pink ribbons in her memory.
She was an angel. I honestly feel like she was just lent to us for a little while, so we could be blessed with her presence, so we could learn from her. It's time for her to go home, and that's the way it's happening. I mean,
it's the kind of tragedy that inevitably leads to one question. Are water parks safe?
Water parks are absolutely safe, and the industry is safe.
Kieran Burke is chairman and CEO of Premier Parks, the company that owns Waterworld.
How many people is that slide designed to take? The slide itself is designed for one rider at a time to go down it. Obviously, it has strength to support more than that.
The structural engineer hired by Waterworld to inspect the accident told reporters the slide could easily withstand the weight of 10 people, but not 3 times that. There are no federal or state standards on how water parks are maintained. Generally, the industry polices itself and says its safety record is a good one. Wallace James is an independent safety expert.
If a group of people had not done what this group did, the incident would not have happened. And it just emphasizes more and more that you need to follow instructions and follow the rules of the park to keep yourself in a safe envelope.
Last year, 58 million Americans visited water theme parks. There were only 2 deaths, both from drowning. Premier Parks now operates 11 parks and says it's never had a single fatality in 7 years until now.
If you follow the ride, the procedures, and the rules, you'll have a wonderful and safe visit.
Since you know, or maybe you ought to know, that kids break rules, but maybe you need to take extra steps, or maybe you need to be more vigilant, or maybe you need to do more than just have rules.
And one of the things that hopefully comes out of this tragedy is that we'll learn more and understand better how we can prevent this from ever happening again.
And if Waterworld has learned a hard lesson, so too have these students, who began a field trip as a lighthearted finish to the school year, and ended it with their first brutal introduction to a world in which life is unfair, and where you don't live forever.
I just look at friends and loved ones. I want to hold them closer. Life is just really precious. I cherish everything so much more after experiencing what happened.
The principal of Napa High says some of the injured students face several operations and months of rehabilitation, but all are expected to recover fully. Legislators in California plan to hold hearings in 2 weeks on whether the state should regulate permanent amusement park rides. Meanwhile, they can't build these water parks fast enough. There are now more than 900 in this country, and more on the way, with waves of customers waiting to take the plunge.
And they're waiting to take the plunge you need. With our common sense alert. I don't even play the alarm here, but you know what I'm talking about here. First of all, a tradition be breaking the record here. Rules are one at a time. You don't need to fit 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 21. Doesn't matter. One at a time. One at a time. One person slides, another person slides. After the person slides, the next person slides. Then the next person, and the next person. Do these kids know that? They paid the price for it. And I feel sorry for them, but the other kids should have stopped this and said, hey, hold on a minute. We're doing something wrong here. We need to be following the rules. Fuck the tradition, follow the rules. That's common sense for you. The next time you're visiting water parks and you decide to watch this, don't go doing what these idiots done. Trust me. That's gonna be like Harry Potter insulting Snape. While 70 members of Gryffindor, 70 members of Hufflepuff, 70 members of Ravenclaw, and 70 members of Slytherin are all sliding down the same slides, and almost half of them landed head down, face first, stomach, knees, groin, ass, etc. Don't go doing this. Safety is #1 priority here. What does common sense say? Common sense needs to tell you to follow the rules and the instructions at the water park you go. Whether it's Schlitterbahn, any other water park you go to that's water slides, you need to follow the rules, period. I don't care if you don't like the rules. Rules are made for a reason. Without rules, there'd be chaos. That's why we have laws. Laws are hints. Think of them as hints. Unless you want to see some African American getting his ass kicked by a white police officer. Now, I'm not trying to be racist here, but now, if I'm racist about this, I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry here. Alright, coming up next, our Bible break. And it's something you don't want to miss. Stay tuned. Check out this video of a cow getting hit by a car. Oh shit. Now that got 6.1 thousand views in just 9 months. I can imagine what that cow is doing. Oh my god, I gotta hurry up to my job. Boom, you go flying out and you go flying. You go fly. You fly. Now, a very viral video of a commercial. It's all about hamburgers. You think kicking the baby goes from South Park, you better think again. Take a look. That got almost 100,000 views. This is a South Park parody. It probably is. It probably is a South Park parody if you actually look at it. But they probably stole South Park and made it into a commercial.
thank you guys for 1,000 subs. And actually, you know what? I don't think y'all can fucking...
Cursing toys. Now this last one is something not to be laughed at. It was a vibe being used on TikTok. Take a look, and I warned you. Actually, this video has gotten over 600,000 views and was being used as a meme as a vine for everyone's TikTok. One of those has got to be from this channel, from Mark Adams 89. Take a look.
Can we get some Chick-fil-A?
No, we have food in the fridge.
Oh, you always tell me that.
Talk back to me or you'll get this belt.
Dad, can you take me to my friend's house?
Nah, I'm watching football right now. And it's kind of late. Don't you have your talent show tomorrow morning?
Yeah?
Yeah, go to bed the next day.
I want to kill my mom. I want to kill my dad.
Oh, great heavens!
You probably get that, dear. We'll be right back. The blinker. It's a thing that we all use. Do you know where it is? Well, Katie Jeffries is going to tell you in tonight's Driving Me Crazy.
So I've gotten a ton of requests to do a video about using your blinker. And frankly, it took me a while to come up with this one, because I didn't know what to say. It takes the most minimal amount of effort possible. You just hit it. If you can't handle that, I want you to take your license out of your wallet, put it in a trash can, light that trash can on fire. You don't deserve it. It's not like an optional thing. It's the law. But when I look around...
But I think I see a lot of lawbreakers up in this house.
I mean, seriously, how many of you are communication majors? But you can't communicate to me that you want to change lanes? But I'll stop. The blinker was actually invented in 1929 by this guy named Oscar Simler. But still, no one knows how to use it. How disappointed do you think he would be to find out that people nowadays would rather die in some fiery crash than move their wrist slightly? And using your blinker as you're changing lanes, that doesn't count, because I, as a fellow human on the road with you, need a moment for my eyes to see your blinker, and then let that register back through my optic nerve into my cerebellum, so I can then say, oh, this guy needs over, and then let you over. Give me a second. Here's one more thing. Nobody respects the blinker. When you do use it, people try to cut you off. But how rude, man. I was trying to let you know that I needed over, and now I can't get in. So don't complain about the blinker if you don't respect the blinker. And frankly, if you can't handle using a turn signal, linker, whatever you want to call it, get off the road. You shouldn't be there.
I think Katie Jeffries just gave us...
Just a minimal amount of effort possible.
I think Katie gave us a common sense alert that we all need to hear.
That's Mickey Mouse.
Sorry. Come on. Where is it? There it is. Common sense alert. Yeah, I'm talking to you. I'm pointing to you blinker idiots out there. You need to use your blinker. You don't want to hear it. Well, tough luck. It's the law. It is the law. You don't like it? Get that license, put it in the trash can, or burn it in your freaking bonfire. Yeah, I'd rather get my driver's license, not use the blinker, than throw in that bonfire. And as they're cheering on, I'd rather take my driver's license, take somebody's skateboard who skateboards on my property, and burn that in that bonfire. I'd rather do that than lose the blinker. Thankfully, I don't drive. And if you don't know how to use that, take it and put it in your bonfire. I'd rather burn skateboards in that bonfire. Hell, I'd rather take the KKK uniforms and burn them in that bonfire. I'd rather have a Thanksgiving meal on the airplane while traveling to Kansas. Yeah, I'd rather be in Kansas than see people not use the blinker. I'd rather drink Kansas whiskey while talking to my grandma. I'd rather eat the wires of that blinker than go to Kansas. I'd rather drink the fluid of that blinker than go to Kansas. I'd rather drink buffalo snot out of diarrhea while having sex with the wet bandits. That's what I'd rather do. So the bottom line here is, use your blinker. Yeah, I'm pointing to you out there. Use your blinker and don't cut somebody off and flip them the bird. Actually, to all you people who don't use your blinkers, this is what you deserve. That's it for this edition of Give Me a Break Saturday going to Sunday. Coming up on Monday, a lesson from Ben. This doctor says he accidentally killed this kid. But what strikes him the most, instead of fighting him in court, he told him the truth. Why did he do it? You'll be startled by what you'll see. Hospital errors. Have they done this? You'll hear more. Have a good night.